Okay, before we start the actual multiplying of two-digit by two-digit numbers, we're going to break it down. And what really two-digit by two-digit multiplication is you're multiplying two separate numbers, a units number, and which is right here, and a tens number, like this. Now, we're going to first do the units number. So the 7. 7 times 3 is 21. When you're multiplying, first you multiply up with the units and then across. So 7 times 3 is 21. You put a 1 here, and you carry the 2 because the 20 is in the tens column up there. Then you go across. 7 times 2 is 14. You add that 2, which ends up being 16, like so. The tens column is what you're multiplying isn't 47, but it would be 40. So you're multiplying this 40 times 23. And whenever you have to do that, you put a 0 in the units column, okay, because you're holding that place value to represent that it's 40. 4 times 3, so first you always go across, whereas in the units you always go up first. In the tens you go across first. 4 times 3 is 12. Put the 2 down here, and I have to carry the 1 because it's not really 12. It's 40 times 3, which would be 120. So it must be carried up into the next column. 4 times 3 is 12, carry the 1. 4 times 2 is 8, and then I must add this 1, which is 9. So 40 times 23 is 920, and 7 times 23 is 161. That's essentially what you're doing when you're doing 23 times 47. Okay, I'm going to break that down. You're doing 7 times 23, and then you're doing 40 times 23. That's what this question is. And we're going to look at that further. So when you have them stacked as such, as it is in right here, you're going to do the 7 first. 7 times 3, as we said before, is 21. 1's there, 2 are carried. And then if you look over, you go across. 7 times 2 is 14. And then you add this 2 right here. 14 plus 2 is 16, just like we talked about. Now when we move to the 4, which is really 40, like we saw on the last page, you put a 0 down here. That 0 is a bit of a haunted house 0, but there it is. And we go across first. 4 times 3 is 12. You put the 2 down here. You've crossed out the 2 from before, and now you put a 1. Okay? Then scrolling down, you move straight up. So first you go across with the 4 or 40, and then you go up. 4 times 2 is 8, but 8 plus 1, add that 1, ends up being 9. So we have 920. The last step with this multiplication is to add the two numbers below. So we have 161 plus 920. I can't stress how important it is to make sure your numbers are stacked straight and even. So the ones column or the units column is lined up, the tens column is lined up, and the hundreds column is lined up. So it's easy to add. 6 plus 2 is 8, 9 plus 1 is 10. The answer is 1081. All right, we're going to try this question right now using the concepts of what we just learned. So first we go up in the units. 2 times 6 is 12. I put the 2 here. I carry the 1 because the 1's in the tens column. I go across. 2 times 4 is 8. And then you add this 1, which is 9. So we put the 9 there. I'm just going to erase this right here. I'm going to actually leave the 1 and then just cross it out. Okay? Now, because I'm multiplying by the 3, which is really 30, I must put a 0 right here. And then I go across first. 3 times 6 is 18. I carry the 1. And then I go up. 3 times 4 is 12. Plus 1 is 13. I've made sure my numbers are lined up. And then I add. 2 plus 0 is 2. 9 plus 8. Well, I know that 8 plus 8 is 16, so I must add 1. 17. And that's a mental math strategy. I carry the 1. 1 plus 3 is 4, and there's that 1 in the thousands column. So the answer is 1,472. Use this when we're doing two-digit by two-digit math if you need assistance.